Folks, heading out to the southern part of Lake Michigan, we're going to talk with Captain Caleb Zorn, and I've had the pleasure of fishing with Caleb the last several years. He is a true expert on fishing on Lake Michigan and actually has been on charter boats since he was 10 years old. Captain Caleb, I see you're not on the water today, buddy.
No, I got the day off going to lunch with my parents,
Oh,
so it
that's
feels
such a
pretty
lovely
good.
thing. Hey, really though, I want to talk to you about fishing on Lake Michigan in the wintertime. In the second half of January and February, there's no problem getting out there, and the fishing's been really good off of Milwaukee, hasn't it?
It's been really good, John, especially with these mild temps that we've had. We've been getting a lot of steelhead, and actually the rivers have been open longer than usual years past, and we've been doing pretty good numbers of steelhead and brown trout actually up inside the rivers.
Well, let's start out with the Milwaukee Harbor, and you and I were out there in early December and just crushed the lake trout. Has that is that still going pretty good out there?
That's still going. Due to some of the bigger blows that we've had throughout, the last couple of weeks. That's kind of those fish have been moving in and out due to the dirty water. They're not really a big fan of the dirty water. So when we've had these big blows, those fish have been pushing back out towards the cleaner water. And they're a little bit harder to find when they get out there and they're on the flats, talking 40, 50, 60 foot. They're a little bit harder to find when they get on the flats. That's why they're much easier to target around the gaps and stuff where we did catch them.
So if we got west wind and decent water clarity, you can get those fish just outside the Milwaukee Harbor jigging.
Definitely, yep.
All right, let's talk brown trout, buddy. How's Milwaukee been for browns?
Milwaukee's been really good for browns, actually. The last couple times I was out, I did troll for them. Usually we jig. There's more of a troll bite, and we put up some really good numbers with the brown trout. Just crankbaits, almost like how we troll for walleyes on the bay or anywhere else inland. You know, um, just putting crankbaits out 30 foot to maybe 130. It kind of staggered them throughout the water column with planer boards.
Okay, let's start
So,
moving south a little bit now. Has the power plant been any good at Oak Creek?
that's been hit or miss, John. I won't lie. That some days you go there and you crush them, and then you think you're going to go back the next day and do big numbers again, and it just has not been consistent like the harbors have, like Milwaukee and Racine.
Well, let's talk Racine and Kenosha. There's no ice in the Racine Harbor at this time, right?
Maybe there's a little bit that just showed up this morning with this little cold front, but who knows? That could disappear by tomorrow. But I mean, the forecast does look like it's about to get cold here in the next couple of days. So probably by next week we'll be on the ice in the harbors.
So you had kind of an interesting story you told me the other day on the Racine Harbor that was open water fishing, but you were using automatic fishermen on the piers. Uh,
Not putting them on the docks. Yep.
really? And were you
Yep.
catching a lot of browns?
A lot of browns and steelhead are starting to show up. So yeah, I mean it was pretty good fishing.
And Kenosha, how's that been?
you know, Kenosha's been hit or miss just because we're a little bit smaller of a port there, and you're kind of limited to where you can fish. And now I do know there was ice floating in there this morning when I looked at it, and some of the better water was covered up with ice. So I mean that makes it pretty tough, especially when the ice is skim ice.
Well, now let's move on to the rivers now. You got the Milwaukee River, you got the Root River. This is a good opportunity for guys to fish in waders or offshore and just use bobbers and float spawn down. Is there a lot of fish in the rivers right now?
There's a lot of fish in the rivers, and a lot of guys kind of overlook throwing a little Cleo or even like a spinner for the steelhead and the browns. They're pretty aggressive in the river this time of year, and they'll come up and hit little Cleos and stuff with spinners. But if you got spawn, definitely don't be afraid to float spawn and a bobber throughout the holes.
And again, that's kind of neat for guys that can't get out in a boat. They have access to some pretty darn good fishing. And there's public areas I know on the Milwaukee River, all of Estabrook Park, most of the way all to downtown that you can fish and have
Yep.
success. I'm not that familiar with the Root River and Racine. Are there public areas for guys to fish?
There's tons of public water, just like how you said, like in the Milwaukee. You got Lincoln Park and um, Island Park. There's a bunch of public water or shoreline. You can fish the river for steelhead.
And you would say that this is one of the better years for the steelhead
This is
run?
going to be one of the better years, yeah, because we haven't really got that hard freeze yet, and there's still a lot of fish pushing up the river, so there's actually quite a few in there right now.
Sounds like a great report. At least, if we want to get, or if we don't want to ice fish for a while, Lake
Yeah,
Michigan has got some great fishing in January and February.
definitely. Yep.
Thank you, Captain Caleb.
Thanks,
Go
guys.
have lunch.
Yep. Have a good one.